Hey Gossip Ghouls, welcome to the Hot Ghouls Club, and if you love true crime and creepy cases, tap follow so you never miss an episode. As always, I'm your host Jamie.
And I'm Tara.
This is only 9 o'clock. We just got here an hour ago.
No, it's crazy. Are we recording?
We are. We're live. We're back and better than ever.
Welcome back to the Hot Ghouls Club.
Welcome back. My name's Jamie.
My name is Tara, if you guys don't already know.
As you should, though.
You really should. It should have been like ingrained into your brain the moment that you came into this earth. Truly. And we're really happy to be back. We have a one case episode today, which is exciting, and I'm doing it. It's a total surprise to Jamie. So I am really intrigued by her reaction.
Yeah, I'm curious to know if if I know this one or if it's like a complete newie.
So I decided not to do like I guess they call it like a cold open, where I kind of describe the whole case and then and then go into it. You know what I mean? You know when you describe it and you're like, this person who took these many lies and blah, blah, blah. Like, let's get into the story of John Wayne Gacy or something. You know what I mean? I think I'm just going to start. Like, it's a paper.
John Wayne Gacy murdered 8.
And then it's like John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown. No, it's a very like niche, I feel like, crime. Like, it's not one I heard of before I started doing research on it. It has a decent amount of stuff out there, but a little bit of things, like a couple things are contradictory, but not a lot. And the contradictions are like very minute.
Amazing.
Like, it's like, you know, I'll go over it. It's a he. I'll give you that. Cases around a he.
Usually is.
But I'll say the name. We're going to be talking today about the case of Ken McElroy. Kenny boy.
My pop's fake name is Ken.
That's a very interesting piece of information.
Real name John.
Why? Why Ken?
I don't know. It seems to be like this theme that my family does where they like go by their middle names.
Oh, it is his middle name. His
middle name is Ken.
You said it was his fake name.
Yes.
I didn't know that it was also meant his middle name.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. We're going to get into the story of Ken McElroy.
Ken.
And, in order to do that, we're first going to talk about the place where this mysterious crime that's going to happen that I'm going to tell you about happened.
Damn it.
Skidmore, Missouri. Skidmore, Missouri is a small rural community in northwest Missouri near the Iowa border, located in Nodaway County, Missouri. The town covers less than 1 square mile, and at the time of the events in 1981, had a population of roughly 400 residents. And today, that number has declined to closer to 2 to 250 people just living in this little town.
Oh, wow.
The area is primarily agricultural, made up of farmland, scattered homes, and a limited number of local buildings rather than a defined commercial center. Employment opportunities are limited, and many residents rely on farming, small local jobs, or commuting to nearby towns. Economically, Skidmore falls below national averages with lower medium household incomes and poverty rates estimated between 25 and 28%.
Damn.
And socially, Skidmore is a tightly connected community. Many residents are lifelong members of the town, and families often span multiple generations. In a population this small, relationships overlap and privacy is limited. People are generally aware of each other's lives, conflicts, and reputations.
Everybody's related up in that bitch.
That's for sure.
Everybody's related.
The town has also experienced a gradual population decline, like I mentioned, contributing to an aging population and increased isolation, both geographically and socially. The context is important in understanding how events unfolded. In a town of this size, patterns of behavior are visible over time. Conflict rarely remains contained. By the early 1980s, Skidmore's identity had become closely tied to one individual whose actions affected much of the community, Ken McElroy.
Ken.
So, Ken Rex.
Stop.
Ken Rex McElroy was born on June 1st, 1934, a Gemini. I could stop here. It explains everything.
Enough said. A male Gemini.
A male Gemini. In the area of Skidmore, Missouri. He was one of a large number of children, and sources place him at around the 15th of 16 children, a litter. in his family.
That's insane.
No, it's insane.
He's probably an incest baby too, which like would make a lot of sense too.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
He was ugly. He was raised in a poor family household during the Great Depression and post-Depression years, a period that was already difficult, like economically, especially in rural Missouri. His parents were local farmers, and like many families in the area at the time, excuse me, they relied on agricultural and manual labor to get by. There's limited detailed public information about his parents individually. I heard that they were like migrant farmers, but I didn't hear where they were like from. But the family is generally described as working class with very limited financial resources. Ethnically, McElroy is typically identified as a white American of European descent. Oh, speaking of, my DNA comes back in 5 days.
It feels like it's been 5 days for 20 days now. I want it in.
I want it in. Imagine if I'm really just 11% Irish.
I bet you were related.
Us?
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Somewhere from Ireland?
Mm-hmm. Ireland.
You're going to have to look for Brett because I'm not on that one. I'm on the other one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm excited. Anyway, which consistent...
It would make sense for my mom.
It doesn't...
Somebody else thought... Oh,
it would
Bill.
Be forgiving for
I forgot to tell you. Bill thought I was you.
Bill... Lauren and...
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I was like, hi, how are you? He was like, good. How are you? I was like, good. And then... blah blah blah, that was it. And then Jen comes up to me and she's like, Bill thought you were Tara. I was like,
amazing.
Really?
At least we're pretty.
What?
At least we're pretty.
I know, we're gorgeous.
Gorge.
Gorginas.
It was just crazy that your mom thought that you were arriving
my actual
early
flesh and blood
for your
mother.
surprise engagement.
Yes.
It dressed in all black.
She's like, I wouldn't say that now. I was like, I feel like
you have like recently.
I'm sure you actually would. Yeah. Again, mix us up.
You did like not that long ago. Okay, so growing up in such a large family with limited income meant that resources, both financial and parental attention, were stretched thin. Children in households like this were often expected to contribute to labor at a young age, whether through farm work or other forms of manual support. Formal education was not always prioritized, particularly when families depended on additional hands to maintain their livelihood. So McElroy attended a local school in Nottoway County, but did not remain there long. He dropped out at a young age, reportedly during his early teenage years, and did not complete high school. An account I saw, like, he dropped out at 8th grade. Like, he was 15.
Oh, wow, that's early. Well, I guess, I don't know. I feel like that also is, like, I can see that being for, like, a small towner in fucking Missouri, bumfuck nowhere. You know what I mean? To get around?
You don't need to know the mechanisms.
There's only 200 of you people, okay?
You know how to read and write.
Your Uncle Daddy will show you how to do it right.
Your Uncle Daddy will show you how to do it. And from that point forward, his life shifted away from any formal structure tied to education and toward informal labor and eventually increasingly problematic behavior. This early background, large family poverty, limited supervision, and minimal education is often cited as context for his later actions, though it does not account for the scale of severity of the behavior he would become known for in adulthood.
Not for nothing, but his parents are totally responsible for a lot of this.
Oh, 100%.
Like, how are you going to let your little 15-year-old son drop out of fucking school?
Oh, because they probably wanted him to work the farm, though.
Yeah, like, that's crazy work. He needs to get mature. He needs to go to school. He needs to be, involved into the greater public.
Yeah. And
otherwise he goes around killing people, which I'm assuming is what's going to
happen. You'll see. By his mid-teens, after...
He's like an angel.
He's like the best man in the world. He gets slaughtered in his home. No, I'm just kidding. By his mid-teens, after leaving home, Ken McElroy began accumulating a pattern of low-level criminal behavior that would escalate over time. So his earliest known offenses were primarily property and theft related. Property and theft related. Reports indicated involvement in petty theft, stealing livestock and farm equipment, and burglaries in the surrounding rural area. Which is like really bold to do in a town of 400.
Like you know what I mean? You're not getting away anytime soon. Like they're going to...
The types of crimes were not uncommon in isolated farming communities where property was often spread out and difficult to monitor.
That's crazy.
However, what distinguished McElroy early on was the frequency of incidents and his growing willingness to confront or intimidate those who accused him.
It's like, the fuck you mean? I didn't steal this.
That
was mine the whole time. Oh, JR? That doesn't mean John Ricky. That means just mine.
They're like, that's not how you spell mine.
I didn't go to school. I don't know how to do none of that.
As he moved into early adulthood, his behavior expanded beyond theft. He became increasingly associated with arson, assault, and carrying and using firearms in threatening situations.
Right.
A consistent pattern emerged. When confronted, McElroy would respond with intimidation rather than avoidance. Victims and witnesses reported threats, harassment, in some cases retaliation after reporting incidents. He was fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
Despite repeated run-ins with law enforcement, convictions were limited. Over time, he was indicted numerous times, eventually totaling more than 20 indictments.
Just Ken again.
But cases frequently collapsed. The primary reason cited was the reluctance of witnesses to testify, often due to fear of retaliation.
Yeah.
So this pattern established the foundation for his later reputation. But by the time he reached his late 20s and 30s, McElroy was no longer viewed as somebody committing isolated crimes, but as an individual who operated with a degree of impunity within the community, reinforced by both intimidation and limitations of the local legal system.
Yeah, because nobody's fucking stopping him.
One of the most significant and troubling aspects of Ken McElroy's life was his relationship with his future wife, Trena.
What's her name? Trena?
Trena, Trena.
Huh.
I feel like Trina... It's not that, it's Trena.
Yeah, Trena.
If you spell it that way, I'm going to say it that way.
Truly.
McElroy met Trena when she was 12 years old, while he was in his mid-30s.
I'm sorry. Wait, what?
Kenny Boy met Trena when she was 12, and he was in his mid-30s. I think report did say like 32 or 34, but it might have been 35.
That's literally so disgusting.
Shortly after meeting, she left her family home and began living with him.
That's so fucking gross.
Accounts differ on how that occurred. Some describe her leaving voluntarily.
Arrest her parents.
Which in my opinion, a 12-year-old cannot do anything voluntarily.
No.
While others characterize the situation as coerced or akin to abduction. While what is consistent across sources is her age and the significant imbalance between them.
Clearly.
At the time, McElroy was already living with another woman, often described as his common law partner, and had children from previous relationships. Trena entered that environment at a young age, joining an already established and complex household.
So she had like a whole bunch of like what? Like
sister wives?
Yeah, essentially.
There was at least one sister wife, it felt like. There were also reports that when Trena attempted to return to her family, McElroy intervened and confronted or intimidated members of her family, discouraging further attempts to separate her from him. While details vary, these accounts align with the broader pattern of behavior attributing to him at the time. Okay, so I had an account that said when he first, he became obsessed with Trena as soon as he met her, like obsessive.
A 12-year-old.
And her parents were like, absolutely not. This is disgusting. Stay away from our daughter.
Yeah.
He then burnt their house down and killed their dog.
Eye for an eye. You know what I mean?
Go
burn down his fucking house. Kill him instead of any of his dogs.
He then takes, or she leaves with him, Trena. But he really takes her. And then I heard that when she returned, which was after allegedly she returned to her, she fled to her parents' home after the birth of her first child, and allegedly his common law wife, her name was Alicia, went with her. Like they plotted to leave. He obviously like dragged her back home, and then allegedly burned down their other, like the home they were living in now, and killed their new dog.
Okay, that's insane.
Pick a different thing. Also, like, where's the originality?
Find a new fucking neighbor, and I don't know, get this guy fucking arrested. He's burning down houses, kidnapping a 12-year-old, and fucking killing dogs. How hard is it to get this motherfucker arrested?
Yeah. And I know one thing
he can't be well liked. It's not like the sheriffs have anything that's gonna.
He's well hated.
Yeah, put him behind bars.
So he was later charged with statutory rape in connection with the relationship, though the case did not result in a lasting conviction.
I just don't understand.
I know. But in cases that, in like situations I read that she was 12 when they met. And then I think when they shortly after.
Did they have the shorter statutory rape thing?
No, but if you were married, it wasn't considered
But
statutory
he
rape.
already had a wife, so he can't be legally married.
So
to the
he
second
was
one.
married to this woman, Alicia, made her divorce him so that he could marry Trenna when she
A
was
psychopath.
when she was 14, so he would avoid statutory rape charges.
Wow.
But it didn't work out for some reason, and that's why he was.
Was it because she didn't have the okay from her parents? Like it didn't.
I didn't see the
paperwork
details
fell
of
through?
why they didn't happen or something. I'm assuming it might be something like that,
It's gotta
or
be something like that.
he probably was shit at paperwork.
Yeah.
Probably didn't
Bare
want to pay the
minimum
fee.
of everything.
You know what I'm saying? So he was charged, but it didn't matter because he would intimidate people. But over time, Trenna remained with him and did eventually become his wife.
Jesus Christ. Well, I mean, at that point, she's brainwashed. You know,
She's brainwashed because even like later
Fully.
accounts of what happened, I don't know if I can't remember if I wrote it down here, but I will tell you about that later.
Okay.
So over time, like I said, Trenna remained with him and eventually became his wife. She had multiple children with McElroy, contributing to a large family structure.
Jesus.
Across various accounts, McElroy is reported to have fathered numerous children. This says, I wrote often estimated at more than 10 across multiple relationships, but other figures I've seen are like 17.
17
And multiple children with women, like multiple women, like the same women had multiple children with him. There was one where it said like a freaking child had a child with him, and then I saw one where
like
it was
his child had a child with him. Or?
no. It was just another young person that
yeah.
had a child with him. And then I feel like I don't know if this was Trenna or somebody else, but he had a child with somebody like a child, and then they got put into a foster care, both of them, because they're both children. And he went. This is what happened. I remember now. Okay, so this girl and her baby were put into foster care.
Yeah.
And then they were put with the foster family.
Yeah.
And then McElroy found out where she was, and he essentially threatened their biological daughter and said, like, I'll leave her be if you give me this girl. And they were like, fuck you, and called the cops.
Yeah.
So he didn't get her.
Okay.
I didn't burn the house down either, apparently.
Didn't kill the dog either. Oh my god.
So life within the household has been described as controlling and isolating, like the household where they lived, right?
Yeah.
Trenna was removed from her family at a young age and lived in an environment where McElroy maintained authority over both the home and those within it. In a small and geographically isolated community like Skidmore, Missouri, options for leaving or seeking outside support would have been limited, particularly given her age and her sex. Honestly, let's be real.
Yeah.
Despite this, she remained with him for years. In later interviews, Trenna described McElroy in more favorable terms, which contrasts with how many others in the community described him. Mm-hmm. By the time... let me see something.
Like, do you think he was ever nice to them? Or do you think he just, like, super brainwashed all of them? Like, what's the appeal? You know what I mean?
He was just... the women?
Yeah.
I saw, like, accounts that he was, like, a charmer, like, in his early ages and stuff.
Like, if he really wanted to turn it on, he could?
Yes, I did see that. I mean, with the 12-year-old, that was literally just, like, abduction and then and Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
But, like, the woman, Alicia, I think, was, like, in her 20s or something, and he was in his 30s. So, like, there had to be some sort of a connection. And then also, like, back then, it seems like choices were limited.
That's true.
And then if you got pregnant, you're fucked. You're with that person forever.
Yeah.
Whether, like, you're actually with them or not, you're tied to them forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fuck that. Okay. How much time are we on?
We're at 22.
Okay.
23.
I just, like, lost where I was. I'm so sorry.
You'll get it, babe.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. By the time Ken McElroy reached adulthood, his behavior had shifted from theft and property crimes into direct, increasingly violent confrontations. Disputes that might have remained verbal or civil in other circumstances often escalated when he was involved.
Wow.
One of the earlier incidents frequently cited involved a local farmer who accused McElroy of stealing livestock. In a farming community, this was not a minor accusation, and the confrontation that followed became physical. So during the encounter, McElroy shot the farmer in the stomach, but the farmer survived.
Wow.
What followed that
He probably did steal it, which is like crazy.
He did, but I also saw that's why like some of it's from so long ago. Another account was that he just like shot his gun on his property, and a part of me is like, okay, he just shot off, but what if he was shooting at his livestock, maybe trying to like eat a cow? Who knows? You know what I mean? But that's people's livelihood.
Yeah, that's so true.
So what followed the incident often is often viewed as just as significant as the shooting itself, like when he shot him. As the case moved through legal action, McElroy engaged in a pattern of intimidation directed at those involved. Reports described him threatening witnesses, confronting individuals connected in the case, and making his presence known in ways that were intended to discourage cooperation. He would appear uninvited, monitor those who had spoken out, and use both verbal threats and the physical presence of weapons to reinforce the risk of testifying against him. I can't remember who it was. I think it was in this case. But, like, he would sit outside of people's homes, like, up to 100 times.
Yeah, like, that's crazy
like,
to have to
just sit
deal
there.
with.
And, like, just, like, obviously be really aggressive with them, threatening them. He would bully, like, jury members and, like, threaten that he'd kill their family and things like that. Like, even prosecutors were afraid of him.
Because he was psychotic. But put him behind fucking bars and he's no longer a problem.
But the issue is they have to charge him, and there has to be, like, people willing to
go through the
speak to what his charges are. And then if you go through all of that, and what if he only gets, like, 6 months?
He's coming for you.
You're fucked. You know what I mean? You got to get up on out of there.
He's coming for you.
So, yeah. He's horrible. This type of behavior had a measurable impact. Individuals connected to the case became reluctant to participate, and as had happened in previous situations, the legal process weakened. The outcome did not result in lasting consequences for McElroy. The incident marked a clear shift. Violence was no longer incidental. It was being used as a response to conflict and intimidation. It was being used as a response to conflict, and intimidation had become a consistent tool to avoid accountability. Over time, this pattern reinforced the perception. It's raining. Over time, this pattern reinforced the perception that he would act without consequence, even in cases involving serious harm.
Yeah.
By 1980, the pattern that had been building around Ken McElroy reached a point that was more visible and more difficult for the town to ignore. Town of 400. Y'all are banding together. You know what I mean? The incident began. So we're going to get into, like, the final incident.
Okay.
The incident began at the local grocery store owned by Ernest Bowenkamp, a well-known and respected member of the community. And I don't think it says his name, but he was like 70 or 80.
Oh, little man.
Yeah. McElroy had entered the store with one of his... Okay, so reports differ, so I'll give you another one too. But McElroy entered the store with one of his young children, and at some point, the child was accused of attempting to steal candy. Bowenkamp confronted the situation and reportedly disciplined the child, which led to an immediate and heated exchange between the two men. So another account I had was, like, the child was by itself in the store, and there was this, like, cashier, a young girl, who saw the kid steal candy and, like, accused him of doing it. I don't know, like, what consequences the kid did, but maybe, like, she just, like, accused him and that upset him.
Yeah.
And that he went back home, and Trenna came up to the grocery store being all up in arms, mama bear, like, my kid didn't steal no shit.
No, that's
and
like
then
he fucking bought that candy, right? That he had that the whole time.
And then obviously they got, like, kind of aggressive with the girl too. Like, not, I don't think physically, but they were threatening her, saying they were going to hurt her, and they were like, she's just doing her job, like, blah, blah, blah. But what might have remained like a routine dispute escalated very quickly. McElroy left the store, but the conflict did not end there. So, so over the course of the next couple of days, McElroy just became increasingly more in, like, using intimidating tactics, like parking outside of people's houses, like, and this is crazy because, like
with the people that were employed there,
with the Bowenkamp family, and I also think with the girl.
Oh wow.
And it's just crazy because it's just a small incident. Walk away from it. Yeah. So a couple of days after the incident, McElroy went to the store, and Bowenkamp was in the back on the loading dock waiting for a delivery to happen. And there were also, like, two kids, like, kind of standing nearby, and McElroy pulled up in his truck, gave the two kids, like, $1 each. Also, it kept talking about money. I don't know where the fuck this motherfucker got money.
Yeah, right?
I don't
it
see
doesn't
him
sound like he has a job.
Where's your job?
He's sitting outside of these fucking motherfuckers' houses all the time.
All the time.
All day long.
And he would also have, like, people, like, testify for him. He ran with a bad group of people too, I feel. But he gave, like, these kids each $1 to leave, so there were no witnesses. You know, they just like, bye, no, who cares? Yeah. So while I think Bowenkamp was, like, standing on the dock, and him and McElroy exchanged words, McElroy shot at him.
Oh wow.
But Bowenkamp, like, moved, and he did get shot in the fucking neck.
Dang, he moved the wrong way.
But despite the severity of the injury, he survived.
All right.
So unlike many previous incidences...
That's crazy. Imagine getting shot in your fucking neck and you live. Like, that's pretty bad.
Oh, that's badass. But the case did move forward legally.
Really?
It moved forward.
For once.
McElroy was arrested, charged, and eventually convicted of assault. He was arrested later that day by the sheriff, and they had to do some like convoluted thing. Like they had to get him trick him like outside of town because he was just so crazy and he wasn't going to be easy to grab.
Yeah.
And they got him. He was sentenced to prison, making one of the few times the legal system appeared to hold him accountable in a meaningful way. So he went through trial. He was found guilty as charged, but it was I think the charge was attempted murder, but they brought it down to assault.
Jeez.
And he only got 2 years.
That's insane. Okay, so
however, the like happiness of like him being locked up was short-lived because
clearly.
while waiting an appeal, McElroy was released on bond, allowing him to return to Skidmore.
Shut the fuck up.
This is why the people are scared.
This is crazy work. How he even got the appeal in the first place is bananas.
Bananas.
Oh,
he had like I don't mention it. He had a crazy lawyer.
Like a good one?
Fuck yeah, he got him off every time. And like he said,
wow,
McElroy would come with him with money and be like, as long as you get me off, I'll give you as much money as you need. And the guy was like, he always came to me. He was nice to me. He always said he was innocent. And that was that.
And he gave me my money and I went on my way. He was nice to me.
That money. So insane. Insane work.
For a lawyer. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you're a criminal attorney, that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So his return had an immediate impact on the town.
Clearly.
Rather than keeping a low profile.
Everybody down.
Yeah, of course. Reports indicate that he resumed his previous behavior, including openly carrying firearms and continuing to threaten individuals, including Bauenkamp himself.
Imagine getting shot in your fucking neck and the guy comes back and says, I'm not through with you.
Yeah, that's probably how he sounded. At that point, the situation had really shifted. For many residents, this was no longer a question of isolated...
It's like fucking annoying.
Yeah, of isolated incidents or failed cases. It was an indication that even after a conviction for a violent crime, the underlying pattern had not changed.
Yeah, like grow up, Ken.
So on July 10th, 1981, tensions in Skidmore, Missouri came to a head. Earlier in that day, residents gathered at the American Legion Hall to discuss what could be done about McElroy and the ongoing threats within the community.
Yeah.
They spoke with, so the meeting reflected a growing sense that the situation had gone unresolved for too long. And they actually spoke to the sheriff. Like he was there and he honestly told them, you guys should form a neighborhood watch committee and just keep track of his movements.
Where the fuck is this guy going?
And they're like,
let's stop this
that's
fucking
your
dude.
job.
Well, you guys are the ones that are pissed about it, and I understand it's our job, but motherfucker, keep an eye out too.
That's what I'm saying.
Shit, there's only 200 of us, and we're spread out.
What other crime is going on here? So at some point during that meeting, word spread to them that McElroy was at the local bar. It was called D&G Tavern.
Okay.
And he was in the bar with his wife Trenna. So Trenna did a People interview. I couldn't find the actual thing, but I saw a couple of clips.
Yeah.
And she was saying how they were like, we were sitting in the bar and we were having a beer and it was like there was people there, but like everyone was really quiet and nobody was drinking. And then out of nowhere, everybody had beers and it just became normal. It was like very weird. And then McElroy like kind of felt the tension. Like I think he felt like there was something brewing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So they left the bar and they went to sit in his pickup truck. Like they were about to leave and him and his wife were sitting in the truck when about estimates are 30 to 60 people surrounded his vehicle.
Oh my God.
Like
they're over his shit.
Yelling at him, doing this stuff. And while that's happening, multiple shots are rung out. Fired into the vehicle.
Into the vehicle?
Accounts say McElroy was struck and killed in broad daylight by two gunshot wounds. One that allegedly came from behind the truck and like the back of him.
Yeah.
And then another one that came from a block away, allegedly, and hit him in the front.
That sounds crazy work.
Okay, so the
crazy
like a police officer
with his rifle. He's like, I'm fucking over this guy.
So the crazy thing about this case, there was 30 to 60 people surrounding his vehicle, right? All of these people are together.
Yeah.
Not a single witness
said they saw anything.
Was able to name a single person.
Amazing.
Even Trenna said when she heard the gunshot wounds, she jumped down and then like jumped out of the car. And she did try to accuse one local cowboy. Like she said that like she saw him get out of his truck, point his gun at her, and then she heard the shots ring out. But like the direction that she said he was in wasn't where the bullets came from.
Oh.
And the bullets came from 2 different guns.
Yeah.
So he was quickly like cleared of any wrongdoing.
Yeah.
But nobody, no, not even witness accounts. Like they varied. They
That's
varied
amazing.
so much
Yeah.
that they couldn't create a proper
Like a
timeline.
cohesive, like, storyline of events of what happened. That's amazing. They're like, shit, I ain't seen nothing that day. I was drinking.
Right.
I had my beer in my hand. I was just yelling. You know what I mean? Letting him know I wasn't happy with his actions.
But I wasn't going to shoot the man.
I wasn't gonna shoot him.
So the law enforcement arrived and like, they began investigating. But like I said, no witnesses came forward. Witnesses reported that they didn't see who the shots fired. Statements were limited.
Amazing that she didn't get shot, so it makes me feel like she could have been a little
She's
in
like,
on it as well. She's
Cooperation was minimal and the investigation quickly stalled. Authorities were unable to secure testimony identifying a shooter, and without that, the case could not move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Over time, the lack of cooperation became a defining aspect of the case. It was not that there were no witnesses, it was that those present chose not to provide information. The case remains unsolved to this day.
amazing.
So what happened in Skidmore, Missouri on July 10th, 1981 is not in dispute. McElroy was shot and killed in broad daylight in front of dozens of people. But what is disputed, or more accurately, which was never established, is who was responsible. So despite the number of witnesses, nobody ever came forward with information that could support the charges. And even the FBI got involved in the case. Obviously, the local law enforcement. But to this day, remains completely unsolved. But on July 10th, 1981, the reign of terror that Ken McElroy had on Skidmore, Missouri ended.
That's what you get for being a big old fat
That's what
fucking
you got for
asshole.
being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So that's my case.
That was a good case. I
it
never
good?
heard of it. I never heard of it.
I didn't hear of it either before I started
But I
researching.
kind of like it too, because it's not like one of those cases that were like, so down. You know how sometimes we do cover those like really, really sad, terrible cases. Mm-hmm. I like that this was still like, it's still in the realm of what we do, but also like, I don't know.
It's a little freaky of the case.
Yeah.
Like the fact that, so he was been described as a town bully.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, the long run.
And, some of the instances of like intimidation were so intense. Like obviously.
I'm curious what Trina did after the whole thing was said and done. Like if she went back to her family.
She sued the town for wrongful death. Yeah, she kind of like was obviously on the side of evil. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And like the way that she defends him, like in videos and stuff, she said he was a kind and caring man and all of this. Like I'm not sure. Like he's dead, babe.
Yeah. Like he's
he killed
you
your
don't
dog.
have to hide from anybody anymore.
You don't know him anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was so intense. Like he even like one of his like things that he does was he's a raccoon hunter. And he had, in one of the cases, he had two other raccoon hunters like testify and say that like they were with him at the time of the shooting. Like I don't know if it was the farmer or Bowenkamp, but probably the farmer one. Because then, yeah, the farmer one was really bad. Like he was like, I'm pressing charges. Like he shot him in the stomach. He almost killed him. And then it came to nothing. It's really crazy how this one man, mediocre man in life,
got away with so much.
Indicted 21 times, never served prison time.
And it took the community to get together and
What's that Cat Williams thing? He's like, indicted, never convicted. Never convicted.
Because he was like, I'm not, because what did she call him, like a felon or something?
Right, something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but she's like, I'm never convicted. I have to look that
Indicted
up.
12 times, never convicted one, bitch.
That was him, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, his 17 children probably live on his, live his legacy on today. I hope none of them are horrible people. I mean, he was born in 34, so
Hopefully
he'd probably be dead by now anyway.
Yeah.
For sure. But his kids are definitely alive. They're born in like the 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not the 80s because he died in 81. But that's the story of Ken McElroy and the traumatized population of Skidmore, Missouri that unfortunately had to take the law into their own hands in order for them and their families to survive.
No, I feel like he definitely has his like legacy that is still being passed down from generation. Like that's like the motherfucker that they're all talking about.
Oh yeah,
drinking a beer around a fire.
Apparently, even if you go there today, like people will not like
they know the
you
name. I bet.
Yeah.
Oh, they won't even give you the info. They'll protect their own.
Shooting.
Yeah.
They still protect whoever the shooter was.
Yeah.
But honestly, slay.
Truly.
In my humble opinion, those motherfuckers were like, we'll go to the sheriff. We'll see what we could do. Like, this is a public complaint from everybody.
Yeah.
The sheriff told us to make a neighborhood watch thing. And apparently the sheriff then left town because he was training a rookie on shooting, which is very suspicious.
That is very suspicious.
But like,
training on shooting a block away, maybe.
No, it was like other town. But it was very suspicious that he knew they were all so angry with him. He's there. And then he's like, I'm going to leave town and show you how to shoot.
Yeah.
And
it's like
then,
a choice, you know what I mean?
It's a choice.
Yeah.
So I kind of think like, because everybody was acting weird at the tavern, like I think maybe they were like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to surround his car and you shoot for, but that's a really risky plan.
But it's also
other civilians could have gotten shot.
Exactly. They're all surrounding the car. It's and I still find it interesting that she was able to get out unscathed from like people shooting at the car, you know what I mean?
It was just a couple shots. Rang out. It wasn't like boom, like it was like I think there was like no, there was like 3 or 4 shots and 2 of them struck him or something. Yeah,
2 of them got him.
They did what they needed to do. Right in the
sure
head.
Did.
Shot him right in the head.
Right in the head. They got that motherfucker.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Ken. Not really.
Well, thank you for listening to my story on Ken McElroy.
Thank you for sharing. It's a really, really good story. I loved it.
Thank you.
All right. So I guess with that, you guys, we'll be catching you in the shadows.
Stay ghouly.